What's going on, everyone? Talon here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, we're going to be taking a look at Invisible Woman, and we're going to be putting her up against GBR. So that would be Galactus and Master Mold, and see how she performs. This was a requested one by one of the subscribers, so I decided to get her to level 70 and get her uniform so that I could give her kind of a fair shake at GBR to see how she performs. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at our build here before we hop into the gameplay. So for her gear, nothing has been done too much here with her gear. We have some skill cooldown on there, and then we've got some energy attack and what is that, crit damage? Yeah, and crit damage on her as well. We have this up to 22 just to get that little bit of extra ignore defense from the second roll there. Her skills, we have everything leveled up except for the first and the second skill. I don't think I haven't done anything with type enhancement. For her isolate set, we have Power the Angry Hulk, and it is a stage 6. For her obelisk here, we only have an ignore defense crit rate 140 proc, so definitely a lot of room for improvement here on the obelisk. I just haven't really invested enough in Sue here just because I was a little underwhelmed with her damage, so I didn't really feel like giving her a CTP, but she does work really well with a CTP of energy because she does have a lot of hits on her 5th skill, and you can also cancel out the second and the first skill before you hop into the 5th skill for the damage proc, so you can have a lot of hits there. So the chain hit does work really well for Sue here, so keep that in mind if you want to get the most out of her. Use a CTP of energy, but for this video here, I do just have this obelisk on her, and that's because she's very, very lacking in ignore defense, so that's why I kind of didn't really feel like replacing this obelisk, because I could have replaced it for a better damage proc that I had, but it would have lost that ignore defense, and I didn't have a lot of ignore defense uru to really put on her to fill in that gap. So this is why I just kind of left her like this, and I can just kind of, you know, extrapolate a little bit on how she might perform with a better build than mine, because this is a pretty low end build for Sue here. We do have her uniform at Mythic though, and that's just because yeah, we get her bios every day, so I had a surplus of her bios. So once I bought this uniform, I was able to get it to Mythic pretty quickly just from all of the bios I had laying around of her, so that's why I have that leveled up. And then what else we got here? Just go ahead and look at the details. So as you can see, we do have max ignore defense because of that obelisk here, and it's not even that far over cap. It's only 1.3% over, so that's why I'd have to get another 13% ignore defense if I switched out the obelisk, and I didn't really want to deal with that. Her attack speed is quite high, actually. It's almost capped out. Her crit rate is looking pretty good as well. Crit damage is a little bit low, and her skill cooldown is pretty much capped. I mean, that extra 1.5% is not going to make that big of a difference. Yeah, so now that we have an idea of what my Sue is looking like, let's go ahead and hop into the gameplay and see how she performed. Alright, so here we are at Galactus. We got two random teammates here. Both of them each have two tier 3s, so you probably know how this is going to go. We have a tier 3 Sharon with a tier 3 Captain Marvel. We got a tier 3 Doctor Strange with a tier 3 Captain Marvel. So yeah, I'm not really expecting too much from my teammates here, but that is fine because it doesn't really matter if we fail this clear, because I just want to get a good idea of how much damage Sue is going to be able to dish out to Galactus here. So yeah, it doesn't really matter too much on what the teammates do here, because I don't necessarily need a clear to get a good idea if Sue is going to be a viable option here against Galactus. We're going to be using kind of the Fantastic Four team here, which is going to be Mr. Fantastic for leadership, and then we have Thing for his tier 2 passive, and of course Sue for the main DPS, or at least hopefully the main DPS. And I'm kind of on the fence on what skill rotation I like to use for Invisible Woman here. Generally, I like to try to proc on the 5th skill, but I like to do the 2nd skill and the 1st skill right before if I can, because the 2nd skill has got kind of that delayed effect where it has like the kind of like psychic like needles or something like that form, or icicles, like as you can see right there, that kind of stay for a second on the side and then they start attacking Galactus. And then for the 1st skill, we've got those walls that kind of close in around him, and that kind of lingers for a little bit as well. So you can just cancel the 2nd skill and then use the 1st skill and then hop right into the 5th skill, and then you get the kind of damage, delayed damage from the 2nd and 1st skill to trigger your damage proc. then you get all the hits from the 5th skill to take advantage of that. So that's kind of one of the reasons that Invisible Woman is good with a CTP of energy, because she's got a lot of hits that you can take advantage of there. And then on the flip side, you can also try to proc with the 4-3 kind of combo. So you use the 4th skill, you get that kind of force field to pop up, and then as soon as it fills up with the flames like that, you cancel into the 3rd skill, and that's where you try to proc, so you get all the hits from the 3rd skill, and then you have all the hits from the 4th skill as well. And both of them do good damage. The 4-3 will do more damage against bosses that can get, or that you can apply the all defense down to, because the 3rd skill has that all defense down, so that'll have it hit a little bit harder. As you can see here, I skipped ahead quite a bit, and both the teammates are dead, so they did die quite early on. So it's mainly me doing the damage here, so I just kept going on with the clear, even though of course there's no chance that she's going to be able to finish this, but I just wanted to keep going so I get a better idea of the overall damage. And let's see, where is my damage proc hiding at right now? If I remember correctly, this run was actually pretty bad, yeah, in terms of my damage procs. So I had a lot of really bad damage procs on this run here, and then he kept doing these kind of unblockable, or these, you know, skills that you need to dodge or run away from quite frequently. So this was, I think, just overall bad run. I probably should have redid this run, but I was kind of over fighting Galactus after trying to get so many different characters videos for the fight here. But overall, I mean, Sue did okay. I don't know what I was really expecting her to do against Galactus here. She definitely wasn't, you know, doing enough damage to be considered a viable option here for Galactus, but she was doing decent damage considering I only have a 140 damage proc on her, so she has a lot of room for improvement. So those of you that have like a CTP of energy on her, or like a maybe 200% damage proc or something like that, you'll probably do a lot better here, and you'll have a lot better time. But for me, even then, because I think this is about where I die here when there's 2 minutes left on the clock. Yeah, I just looked here, so 14.8, so pretty much 15 million damage here in a little less than 8 minutes, so let's say 7 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. She's definitely not going to be able to do a third, and we just died right there anyway, but I was just going to die because there's no way I could get all of those orbs anyway. Yeah, so I ended up doing like 15 million damage, and that was just me stalling right there at the end. I used Mr. Fantastic for a little bit, so that was like 7 minutes and 40 seconds that she did that damage in. So, I mean, overall, she might be able to get to like, I don't know, 18 million damage or something like that in a full 10 minutes. So definitely not a really good option for Galactus here. With the CTP of energy, I see her just barely making it to doing a third of the, that guy just left right away, barely making it to doing a third of the damage. So I think with a CTP of energy, you can probably get to the 24-25 million in the 10 minutes, but it is going to take probably the whole 10 minutes, and that's with a leadership and support. Here we have Dr. Doom for leadership for the debuff removal, and then we also have Thing again for his tier 2 support for Fantastic Four members. So Sue here against Master Mold is a different story. She does a lot better here against Master Mold, but also I might have been better with my damage procs here because this was after the Galactus video, so I had a little more time to play around with Sue here. And she definitely has good survivability, which I was happy about. Pretty much all of the characters I've done against GBR for Galactus and Master Mold have had pretty good survivability for this batch of videos, except for Kitty Pryde. She was the only one that I had a lot of issue keeping alive. Besides that, everyone else, survivability seemed good. As long as you do, you know, the correct skill rotation with them, it seems fine, because Sue has that really long iframe on 5, and then she gets the damage immunity from 4, or is it damage immunity from 3? I can't even remember. But she does have, it looks like it's from 4, but she does have damage immunity there, so she's pretty easy to keep alive, which is nice. And then she has a heal, but it only applies to enemies that have been charmed. So if you can charm the enemy, then you can heal from them. So that's why you don't see any healing going on here in GBR, because you cannot charm Master Mold or Galactus, so that way I cannot get any health. But these little mini sentinels here, I can charm them, and then I can heal off of them if I was low in health. think you have to be hitting them as well. We'll see if we get any healing here, but you can heal off them. I have done it before. I don't know if it'll show up here or not, but down to the last 20 bars here, so we're getting through. It's been just 2.5 minutes, so it seems like a pretty quick clear here. We did have a Jean Grey, I believe, that had like full support with her. She had was it Cyclops and somebody else? I think it was a tier 2 support with the Cyclops, but I was backing up there because I thought he was going to jump, but I was like, oh wait, he's just going into the HP recovery. Trying to get a little bit of extra damage in here, make sure I'm getting away. Nope, got hit there, but Sue actually survived that, so I was a little impressed by that. But we do have type advantage because this is the combat master mode, but a lot of characters get one-shotted from that jump, so that jump can be quite annoying for some characters to deal with. So I don't see any healing quite yet. We need to get closer to one of those mini sentinels so we can start healing, but we're not quite charming now. But it doesn't really matter. We're at the last couple bars here, so it doesn't really matter if we die. And we should get this pretty quickly here. So let's see, last 2 bars. Oh yeah, I switched there because I thought I was going to get stepped on. It looked like he was doing that attack. But yeah, that was just at the very end. So Sue was doing pretty much damage the entire time, and we ended up with second place there with 21 million damage in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So Sue is going to be a viable option for Master Mode. She can definitely do Master Mode quite easily. She could probably carry about half the damage in the time, well, maybe even more than half the damage, because this was a 3 minute and 40 second clear. So yeah, she could probably do like 60 to 70% of the damage quite easily with the current build that I have for her. So she'd definitely do even better if you have a better damage proc obelisk on her or a CTP of any kind. So yeah, Sue looking good for Master Mold. For Galactus, I think she needs a little more work. My current build, I was not satisfied with the results. I would not use her as a clear or attempt to use her in her current state against Galactus for me personally. But like I said, if you put a little more investment in her, I think she can get to the third of the damage, but don't really ask for much more than that. She's not going to carry, and I don't think she's really going to get to half of the damage unless you have really good cards and you put a 200% proc CTP of energy on her. But that's just my thoughts on Sue here. So that'll be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.